This is my current fitness routine, 1 hour of strength training 3 to 4 times per week. And this is the fitness routine I plan to follow for the next 30 days. This includes 1 hour of cardio every single morning, whether that be cycling, running, elliptical. 1 hour of strength training 5 times per week, and I'll actually be following a proper routine as opposed to just doing whatever exercises I fancy that day. And 75 push-ups plus 5 minutes of dead hanging every single day throughout the month-long challenge. As usual, I've recorded what my body looks like on day 1, please ignore the tan lines, and I've taken measurements of key areas so we can compare progress at the end. I'll be tracking everything I do on my Whoop, which I've been using for the last 100 days, and they've kindly agreed to sponsor this video. I'm very excited to see what happens to my body. I guess let's get on with it. Now, I have built a little bit of muscle recently, but I've also gotten kind of chubby. So one of my goals this month is to try and lean out a little bit. On day 1, I started things off with a 1 hour run. This is the first run I've done in 3 months, so I went pretty steady to not exhaust or injure myself. Things went pretty well overall, though I really was knackered by the last 15 minutes. First cardio session complete. 29 to go. I ended up running 8 total kilometers without stopping and complete a 5k in 36 minutes. I'll do another 5k on day 30 to see how much I've improved. That afternoon, I started my 75 push-ups in my brand new home gym. You can see the bars give me a lower decline and a bigger stretch, and I'm pausing at the top and bottom, so I'm not getting any help from momentum. I did 3 to 4 sets of 20 until all 75 push-ups were done. A few hours later, I started a 5-minute timer with the intention of dead hanging as many times as I could before the timer ended. I managed 42 seconds initially, and I'm hoping I'll be able to do over a minute by day 30. So I'm feeling pretty fatigued. My legs are aching quite a bit after this morning's run. I'm also feeling pretty full because I've eaten 4,000 calories today in order to break even. And in about 20 minutes, I do have my first 1 hour weightlifting session. So yeah. I'm still excited though. Today's a push day, which is why I'm shoving this 7.5 kg into my crotch, and then proceeding to do dips, which are my favorite exercise. I'm using Whoop's strength trainer to track everything, and as you can see, I'm supersetting the dips with crunches. I know crunches aren't an insane exercise, but they're just an easy thing to do in between dip sets. I did a few other exercises, but I won't share the exact details yet, as week 1 was about trying out my new equipment so that I could build a proper routine to follow in week 2, 3, and 4. Day 1 officially complete. Everything ticked off the list. Cool. Now, in order to prevent losing muscle, I'm trying not to be in too much of a calorie deficit. However, because I burned over 2,300 active calories today, I had to consume 4,700 calories just to break even. So that's why on day 2, I was much happier to be cycling, as that burns at least half the calories a 1 hour run does. By the way, I thought this would look way cooler than it does. Anyway, later I did my push-ups and my hanging. Keep in mind, I am spreading everything throughout the day, so there's always at least a 6-hour gap between my strength training and cardio. This is me trying out preacher curls for the first time, by the way, and also leg raises, which are way harder than you'd think. So it's day 2 and I've done most of my training. How am I feeling? Yeah, I feel kind of sick. I'm eating food, but because I'm eating food and exercising frequently before and after, I think it's just upsetting my stomach a little bit. Also, my legs, I'm using muscles I'm not used to, so it does ache every time I walk. But I think it's all stuff that will just level out. My body will catch up and realize, oh, okay, we're doing this. All right, I'll get on with it. Day 3 was actually my birthday, so I skipped the normal routine and instead did 6 hours of walking around Chester Zoo. I definitely recommend a visit if you haven't been. Even though it was my birthday, I still managed to squeeze in my 75 push-ups. On day 4, I got to try my brand new elliptical machine, which is great for cardio while simultaneously not putting too much strain on my joints. Once the hour was up, I immediately did my dead hang and then my 75 push-ups 1 hour later, though I was feeling some fatigue here. That evening, it was time for a big moment. Now, obviously, I've done some leg exercises in the 1.5 years I've been into fitness, but today's about to be my first ever leg day where I just do legs and nothing else. I'm a real fitness person now. Okay. After a lot of stretching, I tried out a bunch of different leg exercises, starting with low weights as it was all new to me, and then I increased the weight within Whoop's strength trainer once it felt safe to do so. It will be really interesting to see if there's a visual difference on day 30, as legs is definitely something I've paid less attention to. Also, I'm aware my form is not perfect. I'm sure many of you experienced lifters out there will notice things I could have done more efficiently throughout this video, but I am still a beginner with a lot to learn. It's day 5 and I've just started my run. So far, not really enjoying the running. I like the cycling, I don't mind the elliptical, but the running I just find absolutely knackering, but hopefully it will just keep getting easier and easier. This run was tough as it was very warm and I did feel like giving up 20 minutes in, but I pushed through it and was able to go for 1 full hour without stopping. And I even improved my 5k time by 2 minutes already. I was feeling pretty dead afterwards though. I did my daily hanging and push-ups that evening and was back to my push workout while sporting my new socks Becky got me for my birthday. I even got to try out another new exercise. Welcome to my first ever bench press. Okay, this is 40 kilograms, so hopefully I can actually do it. Fortunately, thanks to all my push-ups and dips, I could manage 40 kg no problem. If you're curious what the max weight I can bench press is, then I've actually recorded a new video on my new fitness channel, JackMW, which launches today. You can go subscribe to that with the link in the description. I'll be uploading lots of smaller fitness videos over there, so if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely go subscribe. In day 6, within just 5 minutes of my morning cycle, I got caught in a farmer's water hose. Oh my god! It's so wet! It's safe to say I need to invest in a mudguard. Despite looking like I'd shit myself, I had a lovely 1 hour cycle with plenty zone 1 and 2 training. However, my push-up and hangs were starting to feel rather challenging as I wasn't getting enough rest. I said I'd do them every day to build endurance, but I've realised since it would be safer and have better results if I just start alternating them from this day onward. That evening, I did a great pull workout and was starting to find a routine that works for me. On the final day of week 1, my Whoop informed me my heart rate variability was starting to improve. This is great news as I'm in a Whoop group with some friends and my HRV has always been much lower than theirs, so I'm really happy to see all of this activity already improving my health. This morning's cardio was another hour on the elliptical. I've just finished my hour on the elliptical. I'm actually pretty proud because I managed to do the full hour without stopping. Apparently I did 17 kilometers, so I'm really happy with that. And I'm now done for the day because I only do strength training 5 times per week, so this is my rest day. Okay. But on day 8, I was back to running and definitely felt low on energy. I'm about 37 minutes into this run and it's going okay. I'm just going very, very steady today, sticking in zone 2. With my recovery being lower today and my legs hurting quite a bit, I thought I should just do a 1 hour easy, slow run. Why am I talking now? And that'll prevent me overdoing it, getting an injury, and then not being able to do the rest of the challenge. So I think this is way better. And it's still hard work as well, even if I'm only going slow. It is day 8, which means I've officially been doing this challenge for 1 week, and overall it's going pretty good. I've got my Whoop app open at the moment. You can see my recovery, as I said, is lower today, but generally this week I've actually coped quite nicely, and apparently the fatigue I've been getting is actually helping with my recovery too, because it's probably leading to better sleep. Anyway, once a week Whoop update your health span, so I'm very excited to see what difference we've got. So here we go. I was already 7.1 years younger, and now I'm 7.4 years younger. So I already had a pretty great Whoop age, but the fact that it's gone even lower, that's great. I'm very excited to see how low I can get this by week 4. I think a lot of it is due to the fact that I just seem to sleep really well, which is nice to see. Yeah, I've been using a Whoop for about 5 months at this point, and I absolutely love it. As you have seen in this video, because it features like the daily outlook, which gives you these great insights every single day, it's not just a fitness tracker, it's like having a personal health coach. And the latest Whoop is 7% smaller than the old one, and the battery life is insane. I'm on 56% currently. I don't even remember the last time I charged it, but I think it was about 9 days ago. So if you want to try Whoop yourself, you can get one with 1 month's free membership using my link in my account. That evening, my friend Joe joined me for a workout to offer some experience and analyze my form.
A little bit lower, just a little bit. Yeah, nice.
It's definitely really useful to have someone watch you and point out what you're doing wrong.
Keep that weight close to you as well.
I started day 9 with a morning cycle, which was really nice. You might have noticed I'm using an e-bike, but it's on the lowest resistance, allowing me to do light cardio that will burn fat while hopefully not reducing my muscle. My weekly fitness results were in and I'd achieved all my activity goals, but narrowly missed out on 90% plus sleep. I was feeling pretty good at this point and not really struggling like I was when the challenge first started. Instead, I was really enjoying challenging myself every day. I'd also absolutely decimated Joe and Ollie in the Whoop group, so what better way to celebrate than to hang out in a paddling pool for the rest of the day. My weight has so far only increased since this challenge has started, so I decided to reduce my calorie goal to 200 below maintenance moving forward. Your diet is essential to fitness, so while it's not the focus of this video, here's an example of what I eat on an average day. I've also been taking creatine daily for the last 6 months, so I think it's helped quite a bit. Alright guys, today's a big day. I've bought a tank top. Unironically, this is actually a pretty big step for me. I spent most of my 20s being very self-conscious about my skinny arms, and I'd always hide them away in videos. But now, after a year and a half of work, I don't feel quite so ridiculous wearing something like this. Anyway, I did my 1 hour elliptical, I reached a 100-day streak on my calorie counting app, and I had a great pull workout that evening. I'm really happy with that workout. Felt like it it was a really nice pull routine. Feel like I got everything. Day 11 was another strong recovery day, and my Whoop recommended a run, which was convenient because that's exactly what I was doing. About 30 minutes in, I felt like I had a bit of a burst of energy, so I decided to really push myself, and you can see my pace increased quite considerably.
I'm getting tired now, but I had such a spurt of energy for that last 10 minutes.
That night was time for my push workout. Push is by far my favorite. It just feels like it comes way more naturally to me than pull. I'm still tweaking this routine slightly, so I won't go through it now, but I will be sharing my full weekly routine with you in a couple of minutes. I'm also still doing my push-ups every other day and my hangs on the days where I'm not doing push-ups. To be honest, I feel kind of stagnated with my hanging, and I think it might be because I'm 10 kilograms heavier than when I used to practice hanging regularly. On day 12, I started things off with a really fun bike ride and then did my leg workout that evening. My routine is pretty finalized at this point, so let me quickly go through it. I start off with 4 sets of goblet squats, increasing the weight up to 25 as my body warms up. The weights I'm using in my leg workouts probably seem quite low to gym goers, but I'm just getting started with legs and easing myself in to prevent injury. Then I do lateral raises because although they're not a leg exercise, I'm told they're good to do twice a week. This is superset with leg extensions because they're totally separate muscle groups. Then I do 3 sets of Romanian deadlifts. I know I'm going too low here and not bending enough. I looked into this exercise more and my form has improved a bit since filming this. I also superset these with crunches, though I should probably look for some more challenging ab exercises. Then I do 3 sets of glute bridges, and then I finish with 1 bonus set of Romanian deadlifts. And then on this day, I also ended with my 75 push-ups because I hadn't done those yet. It is day 13, and I've just woke up, and my body is aching everywhere. My Whoop says I'm on 62% recovery, and my coach says I need to focus on recovery today and rest, which is good because all I need to do today is just 1 hour of elliptical. Also, stubbed my toe really badly at the end of yesterday's leg workout, so I am very relieved I don't have any running or anything to do because it hurts a lot. So yeah, let's take it easy today. So yeah, not much to do today other than my standard elliptical session and my 5 minutes of hanging, which I'm struggling with, to be honest. I just don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. If anything, I think I'm getting worse. I also went ahead and reduced my calorie goal again, now 300 calories below maintenance. This was to encourage a little bit more weight loss, as currently I was only slightly gaining weight. On day 14, I was back to running, and once again, about 30 minutes in, I had a sudden burst of energy.
So for the second half of this 1 hour run session, I'm going to pick up the pace a bit. Let's see how long I can maintain this for.
I definitely picked up the pace a lot compared to what I'd been doing previously, and I actually ended up with a new all-time high heart rate of 195. And as this run ended, things definitely caught up with me.
I've just finished. I feel like I'm about to die. But I did it.
I was perhaps a little bit dramatic there. Anyway, later it was time for my pull workout, so let's go through my current routine. I start off with 3 sets of chin-ups. I do still struggle with these big compound pull movements, so I can't manage more than 5 reps at a time. But I do always throw in some negatives on the last set. Then I do rows for both arms. I don't really enjoy these, but I force my way through them, trying to keep my back as straight as possible, but I don't always nail this. Each session, I will try and add 1 or 2 extra reps to any exercise, or I increase the weight itself when something becomes too easy. It's really handy having Whoop's strength trainer track all of this so I can see I'm constantly progressing. Then I do hanging leg raises for my abs and hip flexors, supersetted with incline bicep curls, the bench allowing a deeper stretch, and I finish with another superset, this time swapping between bench pullovers, which are a little fiddly on this particular setup, and then leg curls, which I don't get a chance to do during my leg workout. Day 14 complete, so I am officially halfway through this entire challenge. On day 15, I started things off with a slightly soggy but very speedy bike ride. Here I'm attempting and failing to show you my new mud guard.
So I was taking a look at my stats earlier, and throughout week 1 of this challenge, my recovery was holding up quite nicely. I had a lot of green days, whereas as I now reach the end of week 2, there is a lot more yellow. So it seems like my body is now starting to fatigue quite a bit and just can't quite bounce back as much as it could when I was only 7 days into this challenge. I am feeling pretty good in myself. Like, yeah, my whole body does just ache all of the time, but I'm kind of just used to it to the point where I don't really notice it. And I love these bike rides, man.
I also got a new Whoop age update. The number itself didn't change, but my pace of aging got even slower, which is really encouraging to see. It was then time for my weekly full body workout. I start off with bench press, and I'm now comfortable moving 60 kilograms. Quick reminder, check out my new channel to see my max weight. Then I swap muscle groups and move on to pull-ups. I'm still using assistance bands because just like chin-ups, I struggle with these. Then I do overhead press for my shoulders. Next, I'm back to single arm rows, then 3 sets of Romanian deadlifts, and ending on hammer curls to work a slightly different bicep muscle to the ones in my pull workout. workout. I also tried doing calf raises in this workout, but it was a bit messy and I decided to scrap them and leave my calves to the running. Day 16 was my quote-unquote rest day, so once again all I needed to do was my elliptical and my 75 push-ups. I'd also completed all of my weekly goals and once again dominated in the Whoop chat. Day 17 was a strong recovery day, but my legs were hurting quite a bit, so I went on quite a steady pace during my run.
It's just very warm today.
Alright, let's go through my push workout and then that's all 4 of my weekly routines. I start off with 4 sets of dips for my chest, triceps and front delts. The middle 2 sets are weighted and I do this by just shoving a dumbbell into my crotch. I then superset this with 100 total crunches, though since recording this challenge I have switched to an ab wheel, which I find a far more effective ab exercise. Becky's filming also got quite experimental here. Then I do lateral raises for my side delts, once again attempting to increase the reps slightly each week. Next I do incline bench press for my upper chest and shoulders. This is the first time I managed 40 kg total, but it did cause some damage, which you'll see in a moment. Then I end off with tricep extensions, which is once again quite fiddly on this bench, but I make it work. If you don't have a bench, I learned to do this exercise on my bed, and it has helped grow my arms a lot. On day 18, I woke up with amazing sleep and recovery, so went straight on my morning bike ride. I also practiced no hands.
Yeah, we did it.
Just before my pull workout, I noticed a mark on my shoulder, probably caused by yesterday's incline bench, but this isn't cause for concern unless it's happening a lot. While doing my pull workout, I also noticed my calves seemed to be looking bigger, which was really encouraging to see. Day 19 was a massive recovery day, and after spending all morning recording a Sidemen Among Us, I did my 1 hour elliptical and also managed a not hugely intense leg workout as it was getting very warm.
It is day 20, which means we are 2/3 of the way through the challenge. It is a very hot day, so we're out on a slightly earlier than usual run.
The heat means that you can't run as fast and everything just feels a bit more intense, but fortunately this was the only activity I needed to do today. And just 1 hour later, I was done. What a relief. For my day 21 cycle, I turned off the electric part of my e-bike just to see what impact it made. Obviously things were much harder and I ended up burning an additional 200 calories to the norm. Also throughout every cycle during this challenge, I've been making a point of not standing up so that I'm really working my quads rather than my calves. During that evening's push workout, I decided to increase my weighted dips.
I've previously only done 10 kg weighted dips, whereas today I'm going to attempt to tackle a 12.5 kg for the very first time. So I'll start by shoving it right in between my crotch. And now, here we go. So 10 is the goal.
So I managed 10 reps of 12.5 kg weighted dips, which I'm honestly quite proud of, because that means in theory, I'm pushing close to 95 kilograms. Anyway, I updated the number in my strength trainer, so this will be the weight I use from now on. Increasing weight slightly is something I want to try doing in every exercise at least every 2 weeks. Day 22 began with an elliptical, and then about 8 hours later, I did my full body workout. I am at a point now where I enjoy doing the strength training. It is really satisfying to see yourself improve and to push yourself a little bit. With most of the activities I've done during this challenge, I've kind of not looked forward to doing them right before I actually have to do them. But once I'm doing them and once I've done them, I actually feel pretty great. So I definitely think starting the exercise is the hardest bit. Also, you can see my Romanian deadlift form has improved ever so slightly here. I would like to increase the weights. I feel like my hamstrings could handle it, but the issue I've got is that I don't think my grip strength is strong enough. Day 24 was a very speedy cycle. Look at me go, I'm absolutely flying. And you know me, that evening I was back to shoving dumbbells up my ass.
It is day 25. This challenge is nearly over. And you know what? It has been a lot of fun, but I am looking forward to being able to chill out a little bit more.
But there was no time to chill just yet, as I was back on the elliptical in my favorite socks. I also did my pull workout and I really tried to push myself this time. As the month has progressed, my strength training's been getting slowly longer and I've been doing more than just the 1 hour I said. It just feels like I need a bit more time to get everything done. As I said, I was exhausted by the end of this one. While day 26, things are nearly over and the heat wave is finally gone, meaning I can push myself a bit harder on this run. I ended up running 5k in 27 minutes 58 seconds, which is way faster than day one. However, I did end up with some unfortunate scheduling.
Not sure how I've ended up doing a leg workout the same day as an 8-kilometer run, but we'll hope for the best.
Luckily, the leg workout went fine. You've probably noticed my mobility / flexibility is pretty poor. You know, I can't really squat particularly deeply. This is the same all over my body and something I might explore more on my new channel.
It is day 28. I am on my bike about to go down a big bumpy hill. Why am I doing this one-handed?
I promise it was more intense than it looked. Anyway, later that day, the only other thing I had to do was my 5 minutes of hanging, which I am still alternating every other day with my 75 push-ups. Day 28 started with my elliptical, which at the time went completely fine. However, later that day, I had some bad news. We may or may not have a problem. I think I've hurt my ankle. I don't know why. I didn't notice anything wrong at the time when I was on the elliptical, but here I am 6 hours later and just... it's kind of hurting a lot. So it makes me a bit worried about tomorrow's run, but maybe it'll be fine by then. And at least I'm very close to ending the challenge anyway. I do have my push workout, which I'm about to start, but fortunately, there are no leg exercises. As I said, my injury did not cause any issues during this particular workout. I have been sticking to pretty much the same routine, but of course increasing weight or reps whenever I feel like I can. The only alteration I did make today was I started doing my lateral raises at an incline. This is because I heard it should target my side delts a little bit more. I've made some pretty good progress on my front delts, but I think my side delts are still lagging behind. So hopefully long term, this small alteration will make a big difference. On the penultimate day, my ankle was just as bad as yesterday, so I made the sensible decision to cycle rather than run. I was so close to making it to the end of this challenge completely injury-free, but it's not too bad. It doesn't hurt that much. I just didn't want to risk making it any worse. This is because being on my bike, I can kind of get away with not really moving my ankle at all. This is officially my last weightlifting session of this challenge. It's a full body workout, so let's go for it. Woo. As this was my final workout of the challenge, I really did push myself as much as I could. However, I did try to progress to a new weight too quickly, and I had to go again with the original weight. But hey, you don't know if you don't try. Also on this day, my Whoop age once again decreased, which is an amazing feeling, and I'm still dominating in the Whoop group. Strength training officially completed. End workout. Let's give it a hard. And there we go. Apparently that was my highest strain ever during strength training, so I've pushed myself to new limits. Whoa. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, day 30 felt kind of underwhelming because all I really needed to do was my 1 hour of elliptical, and I was going really slowly to protect my ankle. However, I did end with my push-ups, and I decided to do standard reps rather than anything with a slow and deep stretch, just because I wanted to find out exactly what my max rep was, and it turns out after a month of training, I managed 40 total reps. This is the most I've ever managed to be able to do, so we have definitely built some strength during this challenge, though I do think that doing 75 push-ups every other day, along with strength training 5 times a week, is overkill. At least we can see I have built some endurance here. And just like that, the challenge is finished, so I guess it's time to find out what difference it made. Alright, we are back here again, and I'm quite excited to go through everything. So, before we get into any physical differences, how do I feel after doing so much physical activity for the last month? Well, I actually feel pretty good. I definitely think that my energy has improved, even though I've been doing way more stuff, and you'd think potentially I'd be more exhausted, but that is not the case at all. And that is absolutely reflected in my data. This is my recovery 2 months ago, and this is my recovery in the last 30 days. It's a higher average, and there's definitely just more green. Also, if we go over to my sleep, that went from an 85% average to 93% average. A really consistent sleep there. Yeah, my sleep's definitely gotten way better. I'm waking up earlier naturally. I don't necessarily need the alarm. I feel like I'm already kind of awake before it goes off. And within 20 minutes of getting up, I'm just ready to go do my hour cardio. I don't feel tired at all. If we take a look at my heart rate variability, that has also improved from 32 to 37. It's still not as high as I would like, but it is an upward trend, which is good to see. It's been really nice to see how my Whoop age has gotten younger. We went from 21.8 at the start of this challenge to 21.1 with a slower pace of aging as well. But now let's move on to weight. So I started the challenge at 83.1, and remember, this was not a how much weight can I lose kind of challenge. I wasn't trying to achieve a cut, nor was I trying to achieve a bulk. I was trying to do a body recomposition, which is where you're losing fat while trying to maintain / maybe even build some muscle at the same time, and I think that's what I've achieved. So you can see when I was piling on loads of calories at the start of this challenge, my weight did go up to 84 for a little bit, but then as I reduced the calories, I went back down to 83 point something, and currently I'm ending off on 83.5, which is roughly where I started. So I suppose that means it's time for us to take a look at my body and see, has anything changed? Now, it has only been 30 days, so as always with these videos,
do not expect huge drastic changes because those kind of things take months, if not years. But my goal was to feel healthier. I think I've already achieved that. If I've built a bit of muscle and lost some fat, that'd be a nice bonus too. Okay, so here I am on day 30, and I'm quite happy with how my physique looks at the moment. I do not have long-term goals of becoming a bodybuilder. I just want to be healthy and feel kind of strong. Now, when we compare day 1 and day 30, at first glance, there is not much of a difference. However, when we look from the side, once day 1 me stops tensing, you can see that day 30 me does appear a bit leaner. My belly is definitely smaller, and my posture has improved, probably due to all of the hanging. And when you enhance, I've definitely had some upper chest development. I think a lot of that is because this is the first time I've ever used a bench to exercise. I am really happy with how my arms and shoulders are coming along too. Now, if we actually take a look at measurements, my chest and straight arm numbers haven't changed since day 1. However, my stomach is 4 centimeters smaller. This obviously means I've lost fat, which will have happened all over my body. So the fact that I've managed to maintain volume within my chest and my arms suggests that I have probably grown a bit of muscle in those areas while simultaneously losing fat. I'm not sure if there's much of a visual difference, but my quads are 1.5 centimeters larger, and my calves are half a centimeter wider with slightly more definition when I flex them. Now, for whatever reason, when I flex my bicep, it's actually shrunk by 2 centimeters. This is the only negative result I have. It could be due to fat loss in my arms, but perhaps it's also due to me having more of a focus on push during my routine. Also, if you're curious about my dead hang, I can now hang for 1 minute 5 seconds at 83 kg body weight. This is 23 seconds longer than on day 1, which is a quite nice improvement, but nothing crazy. I think my main benefits from hanging were improved posture and just a nice stretch. So do I recommend trying this challenge yourself? Probably not, but I definitely would recommend a slightly more relaxed version. Like, I think the daily 75 push-ups and that kind of thing, definitely overkill. And if you do end up doing the cardio stuff or even the strength training, you have to just ease yourself into it or you are going to get injured. I'm definitely going to keep doing this, but in a more chilled out manner, so I'll probably have specific cardio days and specific strength training days rather than being on top of each other. And it actually didn't take quite as long as you'd think, so a lot of people watching this video will have enough flexibility to do something similar to this if they want to. Anyway, once again, this was so much fun. If you enjoyed it, please do click that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what fitness challenge you want to see me attempt next. Okay, I'll see you later.